POV, it's the first time you visited Tokyo and you realize that everyone is able to drink out on the streets. It's 10 in the morning for me, so just pretend this is a can of beer or something. Oh man, I'm enjoying Tokyo so much right now. The nightlife is crazy. All the crazy lights, the people walking around. Oh, I see a bunch of people drinking out on the streets, having a good Saturday night. Hey, you know what? I might join them for that. Cheers. Oh, I'm sorry. Kanpai. Man, nothing beats a refreshing cold can of beer while I'm exploring the streets of Shibuya, is what people used to be able to say, and I have done that many times. A lot of people have done that when they come to Shibuya. Shibuya is one part of Tokyo specifically that has a lot of places to drink and is a great place to really explore the nightlife of Tokyo, but it seems like the Japanese local government has created a decision that is going to ruin that experience for everybody. We got a piece of news here 3 days ago from Sora News that says, Tokyo Shibuya district passes a year-round public drinking ban. Put those beers away, ladies and gentlemen, because you are not allowed to have fun on Shibuya streets anymore. There isn't exactly a shortage of places to drink in Shibuya. As one of Tokyo's biggest entertainment and nightlife districts, pretty much every block in the neighborhood has at least one pub, bar, or club. However, while there are plenty of places you can step inside for a drink, drinking on the street isn't going to be an option anymore, as a ban on public consumption of alcohol has been passed by the Shibuya Ward Assembly. Yes, Shibuya Ward, you know, they should be fully aware that one of the big drawing attractions, not just from locals but from tourism as well, is the fact that people can just drink out on the streets. And you know, you hear about Shibuya Meltdowns and stuff like that. Well, that is definitely a massive part of why the Shibuya Meltdown culture is so prominent and I guess infamous by a lot of tourism, but apparently that's not going to happen anymore. The resolution comes after a statement earlier this month that the assembly was considering expanding the smaller scale public drinking ban that was created back in 2019. That initial ban came in response to the steadily increasing rowdiness of drunken crowds gathering for de facto street parties in Shibuya on and around Halloween night, with violence, vandalism, littering, and other crimes spiking during the unregulated revelry. At first, the public drinking ban was only in place for the Halloween season, but the Shibuya Ward Assembly later added New Year's Eve to the no booze on the streets ordinance. And look, I've done videos on that before, and I'm sure you guys, if you guys know anything about the massive scandal and controversy that happened during Halloween in Shibuya for the last couple of years, you know, a bunch of people got hurt, trucks got flipped over, and even out in places like South Korea where there was just like a straight up tragedy that happened because of a massive amount of people gathering in a very, very small space. I actually did a whole video on it as well. You can click the card up there for more information. But yes, a lot of people don't actually know that since the beginning of COVID, even before the beginning of COVID, there has actually been, although in a small area, a public drinking ban that has taken place in Shibuya. NHK News has a great little diagram here of where exactly the ban is actually taking place currently. The red area there is the place where, no, you are not allowed to drink out on the streets, and the yellow sections are the new areas that they're going to be adding with this new ban. If you guys don't read Japanese, let me explain it to you. This right here is Shibuya Station. So obviously in and around Shibuya Station, this is Hachiko, the very famous dog statue at the front of Shibuya Station. So essentially that side of Shibuya, for the most part, and all of the tourism places, which are all spanning across here, and a little bit on the other side of the road as well, where Miyashita Park is, which is a really, really cool park with lots of cool food and drinking places, a cool little skate park at the top there. It's a very cool area. That area actually has a no drinking policy between 6 p.m. and 5 in the morning, which is, to me, very interesting, right? Because I have been living in this country now for pretty much half my life, and you know, every now and then I go out to Shibuya with some mates, you know, have a night out drinking. But it's interesting that I'm only just hearing about this ban now, and I legitimately don't know when and if they even, like, pursue this law, to be honest, because I have definitely, on more than one occasion, I've definitely seen a bunch of people drinking out on the streets between this time frame in this red area, and the cops don't really do anything about it. They don't so much enforce it. So I don't know if this whole like ban that is happening, at least in this red area here, is currently taking place now. But in today's news, it certainly seems like it's going to be happening, and it certainly seems like that the enforcement is going to be cracking down on public drinking from here on out. On Monday ward's assembly session, however, legislators voted unanimously to make the public drinking ban a year-round rule. Okay, so my mistake. I should have read the rest of the article here. So as of right now, you are still allowed to drink in the red and yellow areas, which makes sense. I've seen a lot of people doing it year in and year out. The only time that the drinking ban has been happening is during Halloween and New Year's, which I guess I have never seen before, because usually I don't go out during Halloween. I just do home parties. Same with New Year's Eve, because I'm not a party person like that. But it turns out that from here on out, it is going to be year-round. The enforcement area will also be expanded and will encompass the vicinity of Shibuya Station and the Shibuya Scramble intersection, the Center Shopping Street, the areas around the Shibuya Ward Office, Miyashita Park, and Maruyama-cho nightclub cluster. So yeah, as I said here, this entire, basically like a good radius around Shibuya Station. This is where all of the pubs and the clubs, and you know, when you go to Shibuya as a tourist, this is usually the vicinity that you are going to be in. You'll very rarely find yourself outside of this vicinity, because it starts to become a little more residential past this point. Under the current construction of the ordinance, there will be no penalty for those caught violating the ban, aside from ostensibly being made to discard their alcoholic beverage. While this might seem to make the rule toothless and pointless, it's not uncommon for new laws in Japan to initially have no set penalties, in the hope that the existence of the rule in and of itself will be enough to convince people to comply, which is the most Japanese way of enforcing a rule or a new law. I mean, you know, the same thing can be said for a lot of things, you know, like Japan is one of those countries that really believes in the trust of the people that are in the country. Like, it's all based on a trust system. If there is a rule set in place, most Japanese people will automatically be like, okay, this is a new rule, we shouldn't break it. And they don't stop to like question, well, why is this particular law in place? Like, why am I not allowed to do this? Or why can I only do this? Look, this is not me saying that like you should like run anarchy and just be like, fuck the police, and just break every law when you come to Japan. Obviously, like, please, if you're gonna come to Japan, please be sure to respect the rules. But, you know, I do think that it doesn't help when, as this article even says here, is that you set a new rule, but then there is no penalty. Like, sure, maybe Japanese people will follow that, because again, Japanese people are very collectivist, very obedient when it comes to rules and stuff like that. But I don't think that's going to help for the tourists. Like, if tourists know this and be like, oh, the only thing that's going to happen to me if I drink out on the streets is that they're going to take away my can of beer or whatever, then, you know, I have a feeling, and look, I've hung out with enough foreigners in Japan to know this is probably going to happen. Like, say, for example, if I'm walking around with a can of beer in my hand, I'm like maybe halfway full, and I see a cop coming around the corner, I'm just gonna down that shit. And then it's like, hey, what can you do? You can't stop me. There's no penalty. There's no like fine. I'm not gonna get jail time. I'm not gonna be thrown into a prison. Like, you're just gonna be upset at the fact that I have an empty can of beer in my hand and probably just like tell me off. But unfortunately, I feel with like a lot of tourism, especially with the way that tourists have been reacting and you know, kind of handling themselves in Japan recently with the whole, you know, over-tourism problem that's happening in Japan, and tourists breaking a lot of the rules that are set in place in Japan. You know, I don't think this no penalty thing is going to stop foreigners from drinking. I just don't. I just don't think it's going to happen. Even if like this article and the word of the rule is like thrown out there to the widest audience possible, to every single person who comes to visit Tokyo and especially Shibuya, like that's not going to stop people from like doing that. If anything, it's going to like move all of those people to another ward. It's going to move people to Shinjuku, it's going to move people to Ikebukuro, to Ebisu, to the neighboring areas of Tokyo that don't have that particular rule set out. So, you know, I don't know why they're only specifically doing it for Shibuya. I just don't really understand that. Like, if you were so worried about the well-being of, you know, the people walking around just like aimlessly, and, you know, trying to stop alcohol-related violence and, you know, problems happening out on the streets, then Why don't you just like make it for all of Tokyo? Why is it just one small ward? And mind you, this area that the alcohol ban is happening in is really not a big area. Like, you could legitimately walk from one end of this banned area to the other in probably about 15-20 minutes. This is not a wide area at all. So what's stopping people from like getting drunk and drinking out on the streets just outside of the banned area, and then just walking back into the banned area with no alcohol in their hand and causing a violent scene? That can definitely happen as well. So these whole like alcohol bans and stuff like that, to me, just doesn't really make sense. And, you know, I can say that firsthand because where I grew up in Sydney, they tried to kind of do the same thing with these things called the lockout laws. Essentially, what Sydney did was in order to stop violent alcohol-related, incidences from happening out in the cities, what they would do is they would lock out all of the bars and pubs and establishments that serve alcohol up until a certain time to stop, I guess, people from going ham and like drinking and all that kind of stuff. And the government thought that it was going to solve all of the alcohol violence related issues. No, if anything, what the lockout law did was just push all of those drunk idiots out onto the streets and cause more problems. So, you know, time and time again, we've seen that these kinds of public alcohol bans and stuff like that just don't really work all that well, especially in this instance when there is going to be no penalty for it. Like, people are just not going to follow these rules set out. It's not going to change anything. Again, look, this is not me saying that you should go out there and just say fuck these rules and just ignore them completely. Of course, try your best to like, you know, follow the rules. Don't drink in this particular area. And if you are going to drink, just go to one of the hundreds of establishments that exist in Shibuya to go get your drink inside. But what I'm saying is, just on a grander scale of things, I just don't think this law is going to do anything. It's not going to change anything when it comes to the level of like alcohol related incidences that are going to occur in the Shibuya ward. I just don't think it's going to change. But oddly enough, the ban will not be in effect 24 hours a day. Instead, public drinking will be prohibited daily between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. However, this is most likely an attempt to focus police patrol / enforcement efforts on the times when public drinking related problems have been most likely to occur, and not Shibuya's way of encouraging everyone to go crazy on the street day drinking. The ban officially goes into effect on October the 1st. So if you are living in Tokyo right now, and if you are planning to visit Tokyo this year, you have until October the 1st to be able to drink in this area. After that, you gotta go drink inside an establishment or not in Shibuya. Is that going to change anything? Again, I don't think so. And again, like, I feel this like time frame, this like between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. thing is going to be effective for, say, you know, Japanese people who have a 9-to-5 job and then they go out after work to go drinking and stuff like that. Sure, they'll probably start drinking around 6 p.m. But, you know, to a tourist, especially like, say, Australian tourists who, you know, day drinking is definitely a thing for a lot of Australians. I've been there. I'm sure if you're an Australian, you've all been there. You know, if it's in the PM, then it's time to drink, as they say. Like, while you're on holiday in Tokyo, you're not going to give a fuck what time it is. Like, people start drinking at like 10 a.m. when they're on holidays. Like, no one gives a shit, right? So, again, that's not going to change anything in that instance, too. We're probably just going to see a bunch of drunk idiots before 6 p.m. Drinking out on the streets. And then that's just going to give the Japanese people even bigger of a stigma towards tourism in Japan. And, you know, people think like, oh, all these foreigners drinking during the day, being rowdy during the day, oh my god, they fucking suck, when, you know, they're just trying to have a good time. So all in all, as someone who loves drinking, as someone who loves Shibuya is a great freaking city. I love Shibuya. I just don't think this like drinking ban it's not going to change anything. It's literally not going to change anything. People are going to find ways to sidestep the rule, to create some kind of a loophole, and then that leading to just more and more problems. And again, this is such a Japanese like way of like trying to solve an issue. It's like they do the most like what the fuck roundabout ways to try and solve the issue, not think about getting to the root of the problem, and then realizing that, you know, once they solve one issue, they've just created 10 more issues. We've seen it time and time and time again, and this is just going to be, I feel, another one of those examples. So yeah, that was a little PSA to all of you drinking loving people. So hey, if you want to drink in Shibuya, you can do so at the many establishments, but you might just be seeing a little less Shibuya meltdowns happening in and around Shibuya. So yeah, that's always sucks. But hey, in any case, enjoy your drinking when you come to Tokyo. Drink responsibly, of course. This is a Canada Dry because it's 10 in the morning. But hey, if you want to go day drinking or night drinking out on the streets in Shibuya, you have until October the 1st. So put that in your calendar. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here. Subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head, a couple more videos you can check out. If you enjoyed this one, links to my social media, as well as my Patreon to support me directly. And nonsense, we have a brand new collection out right now. Spring, summer 2024. All fresh designs and stuff like that. Get them while you still can at nonsense.jp. And I will see you all in the next one. Ciao now.